HOA Karen kept driving through my ranch gate, so I set a trap she'll never forget. Dash dash dash. The sound of metal clanging against metal echoed through the valley, a noise that still makes my jaw tighten every time I think of it. It was just past sunrise, dew still clinging to the tall grass, when I found my ranch gate bent sideways like some giant had kicked it open. And there, embedded in the mud, were deep tire tracks leading straight across my pasture. I cursed under my breath, gripping the rusted latch in my hand. This wasn't the first time it happened, and I had a sick feeling it wouldn't be the last. Out here in the quiet hills of Wyoming, folks usually respect land that isn't theirs. Gates stay shut, fences stay mended, and property lines are sacred. But there's always someone who thinks the rules don't apply to them. And that someone was my neighbor, Karen. Karen wasn't your average nuisance. She was the kind of woman who treated the HOA as if it were a throne and she the queen ruling from on high. She moved into the development across from my ranch about a year ago, bringing her brand new SUV, a manicured lawn, and a constant stream of complaints about how my cattle smelled, and how my ugly barbed wire fencing ruined her view. But her biggest crime, she decided my private ranch road was her personal shortcut. She'd tear through my gate without a care, barreling across my land like it was her driveway. I'd find her tracks in my pasture, spooking my horses, scattering my cattle, and once, nearly hitting one of my ranch hands. Every time I confronted her, she'd wave me off with that smug little laugh of hers, saying things like, "Well, if you don't want people using it, maybe you should build a better gate." That morning, staring at the twisted steel of my gate lying half off its hinges, I made a decision. Enough was enough. I was going to set a trap she'd never forget. Dash dash dash. Fixing the gate took most of the day, welding and reinforcing the posts so they wouldn't snap as easily. As I worked, the sun beat down on my back, sweat dripping into my eyes, but I wasn't thinking about the labor. I was thinking about her face, the way her lips curled into that smirk, the way her eyes sparkled when she thought she'd gotten the better of me. Not this time. The trick was to build something that wasn't dangerous, but humiliating. I wasn't out to hurt anyone, just to make sure Karen understood she wasn't welcome on my land. That night, under the cover of darkness, I set my plan into motion. First, I built a second gate just beyond the first, sturdy steel panels welded together, disguised with paint to blend in with the pasture. From the road, it looked like an open path once you drove through the first gate. But the second gate was reinforced, locked tight, and unmovable. Between the two, I laid down a patch of thick, sticky mud, watered it until it turned into a slick mess that would swallow tires whole. And for good measure, I set up a pair of wildlife cameras hidden in the trees, lenses aimed squarely at the trap. If she wanted to treat my ranch like a racetrack, she was about to find out what it felt like to hit a wall. Dash dash dash. 2 days passed. Nothing. Then came the third morning. I heard it before I saw it, the distant growl of an engine revving, the sound of gravel spitting beneath heavy tires. I dropped my coffee mug and rushed to the porch, heart pounding. There she was. Karen's shiny pearl-white SUV glimmered in the morning light as she floored it toward my gate. She didn't even slow down, just smashed through as if it were nothing, her bumper catching the chain before the whole thing swung open violently. I clenched my fists, watching her speed across the first stretch of pasture. She thought she was clever, thought she'd once again shown me who was boss. But then she hit the mud. The tires spun instantly, spraying muck into the air. She pressed harder, her engine roaring, wheels sinking deeper with every second. And then, bang, the front of her SUV slammed into the hidden steel gate, the hood crumpling like an empty can. The sound was glorious. From my porch, I could hear her screaming, first in shock, then in rage. She jumped out of the driver's seat, designer shoes sinking straight into the mud. She stomped around, waving her arms, shrieking into the sky as if the heavens themselves owed her an apology. I walked down slowly, making sure she saw me coming. Well, I said, crossing my arms. Looks like you found my new gate. Her face turned red, hair frizzing as she pointed a muddy finger at me. You can't do this. You sabotaged me. This is entrapment. Entrapment. I laughed. This is my land, my road, my gate. You don't belong here. She sputtered, her SUV groaning as it sank further into the muck. You're going to pay for this. I'll take you to court. You'll do nothing, I interrupted. Because I've got everything on camera. Her eyes widened. That's when I pointed toward the trees, where the little red light from my trail cam blinked steadily. I let the silence hang heavy between us, the weight of her realization settling in. She wasn't just stuck, she was caught. The sheriff showed up an hour later, called by none other than Karen herself. But instead of siding with her, he walked straight to me, tipped his hat, and asked to see the footage. I handed him the memory card. We watched it together right there on his cruiser's laptop, Karen smashing through my first gate, tearing across private property, then wrecking into my trap like a cartoon villain. When the video ended, the sheriff shut the laptop with a snap and turned to her. "Ma'am, you've trespassed on private property, destroyed this man's gate, and caused damage to his land. You'll be paying for repairs." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. But he set me up," she wailed. "No, ma'am," the sheriff said firmly. "You set yourself up." I couldn't help the grin spreading across my face. She was fined, her law couldn't save her, and worst of all for her reputation, word spread fast. Soon, the whole neighborhood was whispering about how Queen Karen had gotten herself stuck knee-deep in ranch mud, screaming while her SUV sat crumpled like a soda can. From that day on, she never touched my gate again. In fact, she avoided driving anywhere near my ranch, as if the land itself might reach out and grab her. And me, I kept the footage safe, stored on my computer. Because nothing is sweeter than justice served cold, especially when it's covered in mud.